It is the finale, whatever that means. It's the finale. I guess some people are still in week 7, huh?
If you're in week
Are we?
7, you're in. I don't
17.
know.
I still
Yeah,
have
there we
a
go. There we go.
still have a championship in week 17. Let's hit the intro and get into it. And by the way, Merry Christmas. My name is, so as you saw in the intro, we are the Roto Hackers video podcast. My name is Judah Buddha, and this next to me, is AJ Herschel, the kid, and further over is the stud. Start off bad. It's Jared, and couldn't go high. Sorry, too much COVID or something. So it is Christmas. We already have a comment saying "Merry Christmas" from our friend Thomas H. How are you guys doing? Merry Christmas.
Good. Doing good. Yeah, family just stayed home and watched Christmas movies this year. So, I mean, that kind
Favorite
of
Christmas movie? What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Klaus. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Yep. That one. That as soon as once I saw that one, I saw it twice last year, and I was like, nope, that easily takes it.
It's a good one.
Takes it. Mm-hmm.
Jared, what's your favorite?
Other than the fact that he got a 54-point Christmas present this week, but
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in one league I did, and then it basically, like, I don't know, it's a mixed bag because I've got Kamara in our listeners league, but he's going against me in a $100 league. He's also going against me in a couple little like third place $20 leagues, but I mean it's $20 is it's $40 total, so I don't really care as much about those. But $100 league kind of hurts. I've got a good team in there. I could actually, like, they scored like 170 something points last week, so I could like I don't feel like I'm out of it. But if his other guys, if he has a couple other guys go off too, then I'm not going to be able to catch up. But yeah, favorite Christmas movie, A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah, you don't care for it?
I don't know. I can't tell if I hate it or love it. It's one of those movies that, like, I love to quote it. I love to, parts of it, but I watch it and I'm just like, this is. It's got really good moments. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I watch it, but it's classic though, right?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it for me. A Christmas Story, and then It's a Wonderful Life. Too, pretty well. So, and I was just saying before we came on to you guys, we got a white Christmas here in North Georgia, which is rare. We don't usually get very much snow during the year. If we do, it's typically January and February, or even early March sometimes. So to get it in December and to get it on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is really rare. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well,
Judah, favorite Christmas movie? You're up.
My favorite Christmas, Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2?
I love it.
Oh my God!
I like closely followed by Home Alone 1. We were just talking about.
That's funny.
Why you don't like Home Alone 2?
It's just funny because I did another podcast with a couple other friends recently, and it was about Home Alone and Home Alone 2, and we all agreed we loved Home Alone, and then the second part of it was just bashing how bad Home Alone 2 is.
Oh my God. Home Alone 2 is a way superior movie.
Oh my gosh.
In some ways. I'll say that. I I like Klaus a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm convinced that one of my favorite actors slash comedians is David Spade, and I'm convinced they wrote that movie for David Spade.
Hmm.
You know, who's the guy, the postmaster?
Oh yeah, I see. I have the name. I can't remember.
What is his name? But
Oh, oh my goodness, Jasper.
yeah, Jasper. There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's played by the guy. What's his name? You know him from Jared. You know what are all those Wes Anderson movies? Wes Anderson movies where like
Jason Schwartzman.
yeah, Schwartzman.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know who he is?
I googled it.
Do you have you watched any Wes Anderson movies?
I can't even think off the top of my head like which ones, like what's
Bottle
in it.
Rocket or
Mm-mm.
Royal Tenenbaums.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on. Let's talk
Wait,
about.
didn't he do Fantastic Mr. Fox? Wasn't that him?
Yeah. Wes Anderson.
Nice, good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. All right, so let's see. Let's talk a little bit about. Did you guys both watch the game? Crazy Christmas Friday Christmas game.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the second half. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw more of the first half and bits and pieces of the second because I mean, at that point, kind of knew it was going to happen.
Well, yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. You tuned in for the second half, Jared, just to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, once I saw like what Kamara was doing,
kind of want to
I
witness
was
it.
like, oh yeah, let's see how this goes. Yeah, so I just had him going for me in the Roto Hackers Listeners League. He was going against me in $100 league, and then I started
Emmanuel Irv anywhere.
I didn't, because all my tight ends basically that are left at this point are like Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, and which probably should have started him over. Probably should have started him over Mark Andrews, but but the past couple of games, like I liked Irv as a plug-in. But he still wasn't getting huge volume. He was getting 4 targets, and you're hoping he gets a touchdown. But he got 9 in this game and 2 touchdowns. So that was really nice game. But now I mostly just had I had Jefferson. I'm sorry, I forgot off the Saints did so much I completely forgot about the Vikings. So I had Kamara. I started Emmanuel Sanders a couple places. And
Did he do all right?
He did okay. I mean, 11.5 for basically. I didn't have another great option at receiver, and so I started him in a couple places there, and then Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. I had Cook in a league, and I had Cook going against me in one, and that's kind of like the thing at this point. Like if your teams have been good enough to get here, and you've got multiple teams, a lot of places guys are going against you. The same guys you have are going against you in other leagues, and so it's just kind of like, okay. So,
well, the most frustrating thing for me was the league that I just wanted to win so bad. I won last year. I wanted to hold on to the title. I had Kamara. I had a great team. I just unluckily faced the combination of we've talked about it, Jonathan Taylor and Akers. Ooh. And I think everybody went off against me. I had a decent game, but anyways, I'm just looking at, last week I would have crushed. This week I already have Kamara starting off with, I think he has 54.7. And so it's just hard to see that. And then of course he's playing against me in the one last championship I'm in.
Oh, you're in our little $20 league?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no, I hadn't seen that. Yeah.
So
yeah, that is unfortunate.
I'll have to have which is possible, 50-point game from Mahomes, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys about the upside for some of those players.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we need to talk about is like if you've gotten Kamara'd, how do you
a word now? Kamara'd.
Right. If you've gotten Kamara'd, what do you need to do to your lineup to give yourself a chance? Because you really have to swing for the fences. Otherwise, just go ahead and take the L. I mean, well, I should say look at your opponent's roster and lineup, and if it's garbage otherwise, then I mean maybe the rest of them only combine for 60 points or something and 130 and and maybe you don't need to, but I think for most people, I mean, since we're in the championship week,
right,
if a team got into the championship, it probably has a pretty good team overall, so you're probably going to have to swing for the fences here to have any chance.
Yeah, so we'll see what are some upside plays, some players that you feel like would be swinging for the fences.
Well, so for me, one thing I'm doing, and so this league I'm going against him in, this $100 league. Like I said, I have a good team, so my lineup is apart from quarterback, which is the part I'm going to talk about in a second. I've got Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce, Jason Sanders, and then I'll probably start the Arizona defense. So I mean. Derrick Henry could have 25. David Montgomery could have 25. Austin Eckler could have 20. Travis Kelce could have 20. Calvin Ridley could have 20. Robert Woods could have 15 to 20. So they could put up a lot of points. My decision is at quarterback because I have Josh Allen, I have Justin Herbert, and I have Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And so originally I didn't have Jalen Hurts at all. Just one of those guys dropped his whole team. And so I picked up him and Eckler.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. So they were recent additions to my team. Anyway, so I wasn't going to start Josh Allen. This has been like an evolving process where I wasn't going to start Josh Allen. I was going to start Justin Herbert. And because Josh Allen's going up against New England, they're pretty stingy to quarterbacks. And then Stephon Gilmore went down, and so I was like a 20-point favorite, and so I'm like, Gilmore's down. I think Allen and Herbert may end up around the same place. I'll start Allen and see what happens. Well, now I'm a 30-point underdog. So, my opponent's projected to score, like 165 points, and I'm at 135, which 135 is a good projection. Normally, like going into a week, you're like, oh, I'm going to score 135 points. Well, now it's not looking so good. So this is what I did last week. I got down huge early, and my options were Breeze and Cousins, I think, or not, no, Breeze and Rivers. And so I'm like, well, that's not going to get it done. At most they're going to get you like, 23, 24 points. So I'm going to have to go with Hurts and just hope that, he has one of those great dual threat quarterback games where he runs for a bunch of yards and touchdown, throws for a bunch of yards and touchdowns. And he did. He had nearly 38 points, and I won by 3 points. So that paid off then. I think what I'm going to do now again is, because I don't see, Herbert's been great all season. He's been very consistently in the mid 20s or so, but he's only had one game where he got above like 28, and Keenan Allen's hurt. Hunter Henry's on the COVID list. Josh Allen, again, he's had some great games, but the Patriots are tough on quarterbacks, tend to limit them a little bit. Allen's had some high 30s games, but I think I just got to go with Hurts here because I think he's got the best chance against the Cowboys to give me some sort of monster day. And I hate to ask for it 2 weeks in a row, on two different teams. This is a different team than last week, but it's like, man, I don't know if I can get that. And this team, like you said, some of it's just timing, like this team that I have, in this league scored 172 last week, and
Wow.
so if I had that this week, I might could still overcome that, Kamara points. Are they going to throw down another 170 or 180 this week?
Mhm.
Probably not. But hey, Derrick Henry has Green Bay, the Green Bay rush defense.
Yeah.
David Montgomery's got the Jacksonville
Mhm.
defense, and so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you think, AJ? You think you seem to be a Hurts fan? It's just as reminiscent to me. It is reminiscent to me. I had to take a step back and think, what does this feel like? Oh yeah, this feels like when every time I dislike I dislike Herbert. I disliked Watson.
Mhm.
These new quarterbacks, I tend to have a bias against. I had to
Yeah.
thought about that because a couple of years ago we had about this time. No, it wasn't. It
It
was
was early
on
in the year,
the
yeah.
But we were discussing, and I was like, no, Watson, no, and it ended up being right. I knew he was going to get hurt. So, anyways, and I'm just kidding. Because that year he was out for the season, but yeah, I guess I'm just really worried that Hurts is going to get. Is just they're just going to shut him down.
Hmm.
That the defense is going to just hone in on him, really pressure him. They've got good rushers in Dallas, Although are they injured? I can't remember.
Yeah, Dallas's front line is kind of like DeMarcus Lawrence, and that's about it. They have Tyrone Crawford on the outside, but it's really just DeMarcus Lawrence kind of carrying that entire line because I think Randy Gregory is still technically second string right now, and like Leighton Vander Esch is out. I think Xavier Woods is still going to be out this week.
Oh, Vander Esch is out. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
He's been
mercy.
injured almost the entire year. Yeah.
Oh man, that may mean a blow-up game from Hurts, but I'm skeptical. But so what are your thoughts on that, AJ? Is this another situation?
I'm gonna be honest. So fortunately I did not get Kamara'd anywhere this year. Maybe it's in effect if I didn't take Kamara anywhere, I'm not gonna get Kamara'd anywhere. Maybe there was like a trade in that scenario. But yeah, I like Jalen Hurts a lot this week. I'm gonna be completely honest. I like his matchup against Dallas. And he went into Arizona, which is a very, very difficult defense, and he put up a show. He put up a show for all of us. And technically speaking, Philadelphia is not out of the playoffs yet, mathematically speaking. If they win their last two, Washington, Dallas, and the Giants need to lose out. But this is the NFC East where anything can happen.
The NFC East is like a division where you could simultaneously clinch a top 5 pick in the draft and win your division.
Yes, exactly. But I like him a lot. I like him.
He's getting Djax back too this week, so that'll be interesting.
Okay, that is interesting. But yeah, I like him a lot. I love his matchup, and I have to swing for the fences in a couple of leagues because I'm hoping one guy doesn't notice that he's starting Terry McLaurin, which he probably will come Sunday morning. So I might have to go Hurts because the Saints defense and Jefferson combined for 12. Thanks, Saints defense. But I like Hurts. I have him in 3 leagues, and I have to decide, do I want to start him over Herbert? I'm starting him over Russell, and then I've got Deshaun, which is the biggest question mark because he's been good.
Speaking of Watson.
Yeah, exactly. He's been good. He's going up against Cincinnati. But after watching what they did last week, and I mean, he's been very good in difficult matchups this year. But I'm already like a 8-point underdog there. So why not take a shot on Hurts? So the question for me is kind of, do I want to go all in on Hurts this year, or do I want to kind of spread it out and go Herbert and Watson and Hurts in a different league? But the more I think about it, the more I like playing him. I think he's just got the potential to absolutely explode. unless Miles Sanders takes literally every single goal line carry and he scores 6 touchdowns instead of Hurts.
That could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Hurts though, like my decision has gotten a lot easier now in the leagues where I have him. Like, you know, I have him in a handful of leagues, and one of them he was already my best option. And then the other one, you know, I said like I had Allen and Herbert, but I need so much, and I just don't think in the matchups, or well, at least Josh Allen in that matchup, I don't think he can get it. Herbert, you know, the Broncos matchup, I don't with his, you know, again, looks like Hunter Henry's out. I think he's on the COVID list. Keenan Allen may be out, and you know, Herbert did well. Very well last week against the Raiders, but the Raiders are a worse defense than the Broncos too. So I think that got easier for me. Another guy that I would think about playing if I, you know, needed to swing for some upside on points. Let's see what percentage he is owned here, because he's kind of gotten more on people's radars. So he's 55% owned now. But actually Baker Mayfield. Like a Baker, Rashard, Higgins combo, because you know, Baker last 3 weeks, you know, has been at 28.96, 31.02, and then 20.98 last week against, you know, pretty tough Giants defense. You know, I mean, he seems to have kind of, you know, it's like partially like addition by subtraction, that he plays better without OBJ, you know. And so so they've had that going. You know, the positive this week with the Jets is the Jets have given up the third most fantasy points, and their run defense is actually at times fairly solid. Excuse me. I think the downside is, you know, you look at those games that he scored a lot of points. They beat the Titans 41-35. They beat the Ravens 47-42. It was teams that were, you know, making them score points. And so I'm not sure the Jets are probably not going to do that as much. So there's a little bit of risk there, because they could still potentially just run it and he might not have to throw it. But, you know, if you're looking at what's out there on the waiver wire and you're needing someone, then, you know, maybe that's worth a shot.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I like Mayfield.
And same with you know, Higgins. I mean, same principle as, you know, he's kind of the number two receiver there besides Landry. So
okay, well, unless you guys have any. Last question. Would you play Kittle for high upside?
I've got that decision in one league too. And you know, my other options are Andrews, who's had two good games back to back, really 3, I guess, back to back, going back to before he missed 2 weeks for COVID. And then I've got Tanyan, who's doing well in a nice matchup. Still not, you know, he's not getting a ton of targets and stuff though. I mean, basically it's, you know, 30 something yards and a touchdown seems to about be his ceiling. So then Kittle's the other option. So it's tough. It's tough for me to justify him, you know, him coming back. I mean, they've said he may play limited snaps. You know, I think if you don't have like a top 5 tight end, you play him, obviously.
So Hawkinson, would you play him over Hawkinson?
I would probably not play him over Hawkinson. He's been pretty consistent. But again, I think it goes back to, you know, sort of like the Jalen Hurts versus, you know, someone like Justin Herbert debate, where, you know, Hawkinson hasn't hit 15 points this season. He's been very steady and consistent. I mean, it's like he's always going to get you 8, and you know, no less than 8, no more than 14. You know, so if you're in a situation where it looks like, man, you know, I might need 20 to 25 points out of a guy, Kittle could get you that. I mean, he might also get you 4 if he's playing limited snaps. But if it looks like you really just need the upside, again, if you're getting Kamara or something, I mean, go with Kittle maybe. So that would be the thing I would do. I mean, again, you're not always gonna. It's not always gonna work out for you, but I'm feeling pretty good about that theory coming off of my game last week, where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna play Jalen Hurts because I'm gonna lose anyway unless he just goes crazy. I just got fortunate because they're not always gonna go crazy for you. But I just got fortunate with that. So I think that's what you got to do if you're in a tough situation like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because to me, TB doesn't seem like that easy of a matchup, though. Statistically, they've been the 8th easiest, defense against tight ends, but they seem like they could turn up the Jets. Don't
again? For
Hawkinson?
Oh yeah.
Hawkinson against TB.
Yeah, no. Tampa's been fairly friendly to tight ends this season, so they've given up the 8th most. So I mean, it's possible. I mean, Hawkinson has had, he's had multiple games of getting 80-something yards and getting in that 11 to 12 point range. And he hasn't gone higher than that because in the games where he's had the most yardage, he hasn't had a touchdown. So, he could, if he got a touchdown with that, I mean, he could, throw in 18 for you or something. So he could have a very good game. So it's, it's possible.
What do you think, AJ, before we go to the chat?
Sorry, can you phrase the question one more time for me? Is this about Kittle, right?
Kittle, yeah.
Yeah. I got a choice between I can grab him off the waiver wire or play Mark Andrews this week. To which I might, because I just got a stinking 1 from I got 8 from Jefferson in that one because it's non-PPR. I might try it in that scenario if I'm going for boomer bust, because he is George Kittle, and like I said, this might be a situation where I need 30 points from him, and I'd play him, I think, over a lot of tight ends. I play him over Ebron, over Hawkinson, over Fant, if it's a league where I needed a bunch of points. But if I'm already leading, if I already have Kamara, or if I started off with Thielen, who put up a great amount of points last week, and I've got Logan Thomas, and I've got Kelsey, obviously no. If I've got Mark Andrews in that situation, I don't think I'd pick up Kittle because all of them have been eerily consistent, even Hawkinson, and Fant's got a decent matchup. If I've got a good lead after this past week, thanks to Thielen, or maybe a combination of Thielen and Jefferson, I think I'd stick with who I have at that point. Even Ebron, I think, at that point, because he gets a lot of targets typically and red zone targets. But if I'm behind at all, Thielen, if I'm behind by Thielen, if I'm behind by Jefferson, if I'm behind by Kamara, unless I've got Kelsey or Logan Thomas, I'm playing George Kittle.
What do you think about playing him in the flex, playing Kittle in the flex?
I mean, you could. In most of my leagues, I typically have a better option at flex, or a more consistent option, or a more high point option than a high ceiling option. But if you're hurting, especially in deeper leagues, I mean,
I'm talking about if you've been Kamara.
I mean, the only way I think it makes sense to play him in the flex is if you also have like Kelsey or Waller. Probably, because I mean, maybe Hawkinson, if you feel good about him, having a big day against Tampa or something. But I think there's just a handful of tight ends that would make it worth it to play both of them. Unless, like AJ said, you're in a deeper league, because generally a wide receiver is going to be able to, have more upside. Maybe not necessarily a running back if it's a deep league, or you don't have more than 2 good running backs or whatever at this point. But I don't know. I might actually flex Logan Thomas and Mark Andrews in our listeners league, because James Robinson,
right,
he may be out, and so then like I could go with somebody like Ito Smith or Sony Michel, or I might go Kiki Cutie. But that's probably going to be what it comes down to for me, is picking between, starting 2 out of the 3 of Logan Thomas, Mark Andrews, and Kiki Cutie. But again, in this case, thank you, Alvin Kamara, because you have made things. Well, no, I still care. I mean, Slanting Chubbs, actually, I mean, he's got he's kind of like almost in a similar situation to what I am in that $100 league, where, he's got a good enough team that it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, David Montgomery could have a huge day against Jacksonville. Leonard Fournette could have a huge day against Detroit. So I honestly, I'm not just saying that. I really do think, that he and I are both in the same situation where it's not ideal. You don't want to be a 30 to 40 point underdog, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could come back and win,
That's good. That's true. Okay, let's go to the chat. We've got a bunch of questions here. Hey, Trey. Morning, gents, he says. Full PPR. Choose 3. Melvin Gordon, Marvin Jones, DJ Moore, Godwin, Jacobs, or Swift. Wow, this is... thanks and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too, Trey. Oh, this is a good problem to have. But I'm definitely going Melvin Gordon. I might go Marvin Jones, but wow, it's tough. Probably because Melvin Jones plays today, I probably would just not play him. And
which one plays today?
Marvin Jones, right?
Okay,
Didn't he
there
play?
we go.
Okay. Plays in half an hour.
He does.
Maybe so. Just checking.
And DJ Moore, that'd be interesting. I guess Godwin plays today too, right? No, yeah, he plays today.
Yeah, because what are the games today? It's Bucks, Lions.
Yeah, and then
Dolphins, Raiders, 49ers, Cardinals.
Yeah, 49ers, Cardinals. Yeah, we got 3 games. 3 games today.
Yep.
Wow.
I think in this scenario, I go Gordon, Godwin, Jacobs. I think I like Moore, but he is a little bit boomer bust, and I think this does depend on whether you got Kamara. If you got Kamara, then I think I'm going Godwin, Gordon, Marvin Jones in that case, probably. I'd probably be going Godwin, Gordon, Marvin Jones. I think they all have the highest ceiling. I think Stafford's going to be throwing a lot against Tampa today. I think Melvin Gordon's going to get goal line carries like he normally does, and Godwin's playing Detroit, and I don't think I want to pass that matchup up. But if you're sitting all right, if neither of you have Kamara or Thielen or any of that, I think I'd go Gordon, Godwin, Jacobs. I think they're the safest plays. Jacobs is probably going to get himself a touchdown. He's been in a weird funk the last 2 weeks, but I think he's healthier now, coming off of 2 weeks of injury. And then you got Melvin Gordon, who's just getting goal line carries like nobody's business. And Godwin's got Detroit, and I absolutely love that matchup for the passing offense. And there isn't many people that I bench Godwin or Evans over this week. So I'll go Gordon, Godwin, Jacobs.
Yeah, I think I will too. Gordon, it looks like Philip Lindsay may or may not. Is he out for sure?
He's out, yep.
Okay. Yeah. Then in that case, in that case, I definitely would go Gordon. And then, I sort of agree with your reasoning on a couple of those others.
Sounds good. Yeah. I just wonder if it's going to be a Marvin Jones
MJJ
blow up game.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Last week he put up 10-10 and a touchdown. He 10 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown already. So I don't know if I want to bank on that twice in a row. Even though that's my guy. That's my guy, and he's done that 2 out of the last 3 weeks. But...
Has he had one of those multiple 3 touchdown weeks yet, though? He has
3 touchdowns? Right? No. He's been getting a lot of targets this year. He's been getting a lot of targets, a lot of catches with Galladay out. Because 3 out of the last 4 games, he's had 12 targets. So he's getting 100 yards and a touchdown occasionally. I'm just kind of concerned about Stafford with a messed up thumb and ribs. I love Marvin Jones a lot, though. He's had a lot of really good matchups. And Trey does bring up a great point. He's been wide receiver 6 since Galladay went down. That's crazy.
Wow.
I think I just like the safer floor of Godwin and Jacobs over Jones. He's been great though.
All right. Varun Vedantam asks us to pick 3. Thanks for joining us, Varun. Henderson, Carson, Bell, Jeff Wilson, and Gaskin. Pick 3. Whew. Bell, I think, would be is a smash spot. I like Wilson a lot this week, and Carson. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Carson, Bell, Wilson. What do you guys think? Jared, what do you think?
If Gaskin is back and getting a full, basically his full share, that Raiders run defense is awful. It's hard to pass up Henderson against Seattle. That's a pretty friendly matchup too. And then the other one's tough. I mean, I like Chris Carson, but the Rams are not the easiest to run on. Bell, there's been games where the Chiefs should have done better running than what they did. I think it's a hard choice for me between Bell and Wilson, because I just think there's a chance that Bell could still not really do anything. He came in and did well last week against New Orleans, which is a fairly tough run defense. I just feel like you don't ever know week to week with the Chiefs, what you're going to get out of them. I would actually probably go Wilson to be safer because I don't know. I think you can make an argument either way. And he shared with Mostert last week. Without Mostert, I don't know. Arizona's not that friendly either, but 49ers just seem committed to the run, regardless of who's in there or whatever. So I would actually slightly lean Wilson.
Let's see. We lost AJ. Okay, so there he is. AJ, we lost you for a minute. Did you say who you would take?
I think I'd go Gaskin, Wilson, Carson, maybe. I love Gaskin's matchup against Vegas. I think he should be good to go. Carson's got a brutal matchup, but the Seahawks need to win. So I think they're going to be given absolutely everything they have this week. It's going to be a tough matchup, but Carson's getting all the carries. With Henderson, I don't know how Brown's going to factor in. With Bell, I don't know what he's going to do. And Jeff Wilson's been getting the majority of the carries with Mostert out. So I'll go Gaskin, Wilson, and then Carson and Bell are really close, but I'll say Gaskin, Wilson, Carson in this case. That's a tough one, though. That's a very tough one.
Yeah, it is. Henderson, I just worry Brown gets all the carries, and I worry that defense is getting a lot better. The line and with a healthy, we've talked about a healthy Jamal.
Yeah.
Adams. Okay, Ray Gibson, thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, man. Full PPR, choose 2. Aaron Jones, Chubb, Fournette. I'm playing, so he's been Kamara. I'd go Aaron Jones, Chubb. What would you do, AJ? You seem to be lamenting his choice here.
That's rough, man. I'm sorry about Kamara. That hurts. Honestly, that is hard because all of them have such good matchups. Here's the thing, because normally in this case, if you got Kamara, we go with the highest upside players, but all of these guys have 97 high upside. I might go Chubb and Fournette, actually. I love Aaron Jones. He has done great in good matchups, but I don't know if I like the Packers-Titans matchup in the sense that I think Rodgers is going to have to duel against Derrick Henry this week. I don't know if they're going to be trying to control the ball. I think it's going to be high scoring, and Jones is definitely going to be a part of that, and I'm convincing myself out of what I originally said. Man, maybe Jones Fournette, just because Fournette's got the backfield to himself, and Chubb, I don't know how Hunt's going to factor in. And like Jared said, Mayfield could be a great play because they might throw a decent amount as well.
One thing to think about is the Detroit Lions only have two starters on their line, on their defensive. One starter on their defensive line, one starter cornerback.
Maybe Jones Fournette, or Chubb Fournette. I'll say a temporary Jones Fournette right now. Jared, answer please.
Yeah, it's Jones Fournette for me. The Titans are giving up 7th most to running backs, and the big thing with Jones this week is Jamal Williams is doubtful. So that's a lot of times what limits his upside. Jones this year hasn't had that same type of season apart from really one game in week 2. He put up 43.6 in week 2, but Jamal Williams being out and in a shootout of a game, no one's going to do what Kamara did, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for Jones to give you 35 or 40 points in an ideal scenario. Leonard Fournette, we've talked about how bad the Lions rush defense is this season. It's the worst. And Fournette, it's literally the worst, not just as in, he's the worst. He had 20 last week against Atlanta, which is usually fairly tough on opposing, somewhat tough on opposing running backs. They're just much easier to pass on. So Chubb, the Jets are really the best run defense out of the bunch on those. Somehow, yeah. They're sort of above average. They've given up the 14th fewest, and he has to share with Kareem Hunt. So yeah, this is especially since you're in the situation of having to come back from Kamara's total. This is sort of an easy Jones Fournette for me.
All right. Thomas H. in the chat says, my son wants to know if he should play Lamar or Kyler. Ooh, that's a tough decision. I'm probably going to go.
Lamar's got the Giants. Kyler's got San Francisco in a must-win game because if they drop one, the Bears can take their last playoff spot.
I don't know. Lamar seems hot. Of course, Kyler is too. He's on a streak.
Yeah, they're both coming off of big games.
I'd probably go Kyler. What do you guys think? AJ?
Jared, do you want to take this one first? I got to think about this one first.
Yeah, this is kind of tough too. Lamar's been, better lately. Kyler, I think with San Francisco, there's a certain amount of, I don't know. I think there's a certain amount of limited ceiling for him. He did pretty well against them in the first game. He had 27, but that was running. That was a lot running. He had 230 yards and a touchdown. I would be inclined to, I think, lean Lamar. The Giants have been really good against quarterbacks. So this is kind of tough. But I would lean Lamar, I think.
I think
it's
I would
a coin flip, isn't it?
Almost. Both of them have been so good. I think the thing with Lamar is that I feel like he almost has a safer rushing floor than Kyler. He's been running it more often. The Ravens' offense is more fashioned after his running game. And Kyler, he has run it before, but he hasn't run it much in recent weeks. And San Francisco, they just let up 41, to be fair, to Dallas. Of all teams, the 49ers defense just let that up. But this is a division game, and Yeah, I think division games are always tough. I'll go Lamar.
Okay, Ryan N. In my championship league, my opponent has a bad kicker, and the guy I beat last week dropped Buckner.
Bucker.
Should he pick
Harrison Bucker?
Bucker? Yeah, Butker. Should
No, the guy he's against in his championship picked up Bucker.
So, what's the question?
No, it's just a statement. He's upset
Oh, I
because
see.
he just beat a guy who had Butker.
Now he's got to play him again. Oh, okay.
That's funny.
That's interesting.
That's rough.
Bucker could have a really big game too.
Yeah.
Oy. All right, Anthony G. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas, Anthony G. Good to have you. Start Russ, Brady, or Hurts. Also, Kittle or Hawkinson. Full PPR. I have the same question about Kittle and Hawkinson.
And
we have to make the decision within the next 15 minutes.
We actually also have another question with Kittle and Hawkinson from Kashif Mustafa, so we get to answer 2 and 1 here.
Yeah, I think from what you guys are saying, I don't know. I gotta stick with my guns. I'm not going with Hurts. I'm tempted, but I'm going. I don't know these. I'm going Russ. I think they're gonna have a huge game.
You think the Seahawks are going to have a huge game?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a big game all around. And the Kittle Hawkinson one, I think I've talked myself into actually playing both. I think I'm gonna play Hawkinson, and if he does, I don't know. I've got 15 minutes to decide.
We actually have a little inside information from our resident Bucks fan, Ryan N., who says, start Hawkinson. Bucks linebackers cannot cover tight ends.
Yeah, I'm super tempted. I don't know. That's a tough one. I've been Kamara, so I have to shoot for the
moon.
Shoot for the moon. What do you guys think between these choices? Obviously, you guys are going Hurts. What are you guys doing between? We've already kind of talked about Kittle Hawkinson.
I like Brady a lot this week. We talked about how he could absolutely explode against Atlanta, and he did well in the second half against them. If you're I think this is another instance where if you had Kamara or if you had Thielen, I'd go Brady. I think he's got a nice safe floor. He's playing Detroit. Good matchup. I think he's safe floor. If you're behind, you played against Thielen, then I think I'm swinging for if you played against Thielen, you played against Kamara, Sanders maybe even, I would go Jalen Hurts. I would go Jalen Hurts, I think, if you're behind pretty big. And I'd go Hawkinson. I'm just worried about what Kittle's actually going to do. If he's going to be a decoy just because he's that good, they have to cover him anyway. I'll go with Hawkinson here.
Yeah, I would not start Russ. We've talked about the Russ late season slide. He had under 12 against the Rams.
Yep.
Last time they played. I would go with Brady or Hurts. And Hurts for the upside. Yeah, Kittle or Hawkinson. Yeah, I like Hawkinson better unless you're just really desperate for a 20-plus point game from your tight end, and it seems like a little early to know. Unless you get, again, I guess if you got Kamara, you probably don't necessarily. Yeah. But yeah, for me it's Hurts Hawkinson.
Okay. All right, let's see, Lucius. We'll say Lucius Vorenus 44. I need one. Thanks for being in our watching us. Sorry, I have no words. Need one wide receiver. Godwin, Metcalf, Davis. Need one tight end. Andrews or Thomas. Only reason I ask about the tight end is McLaurin is doubtful. Yeah, thanks in advance. Yeah. And I think Smith is back too, but I'm not sure. I don't think anybody knows for sure.
Oh, also really quick, he also does add regarding the question. He's a Kamara owner, so he's already ahead big. So
Oh,
he just needs a safe floor here, which he's worried because
safe
DK
floor.
is going up against Jalen Ramsey and Russell's
Yeah.
late season slide and all that.
Yeah, I think Godwin would be a safe play. He's got to pick one. Yeah, Godwin would be a safe play, and I think Thomas is probably the safest. I think he could have a pretty good game. Being that I think McLaurin is going to be out, and he hasn't done much in a while, anyways. And they've been leaning on Thomas. I'm just kind of curious to know who is going to be the quarterback, though.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter too much for
They
Thomas.
both like throwing to him. They both love throwing to Logan.
Well, but I'm just afraid it'd be somebody a third option. Who's their? Because what if the whole COVID scandal with what's his name?
Haskins.
Yeah, he got in trouble for the COVID. Then what if they don't play him and they can't play Smith? Who would the third option be?
Taylor Heineke?
Oh,
Something like that?
Heineke.
Something like that? From Old Dominion. Interesting.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Jared? You seem to have
Yeah, I mean with McLaurin's probably not going to play. I would say, gosh, that's. I mean, it's tough to bench DK.
Yeah.
I even though I don't like Russ all that well overall, I mean, all DK needs is one play, you know.
True.
But he didn't have a good game against the Rams the first game. He only had 4 targets, 28 yards. The thing with Godwin, though, I mean, he's sharing. I mean, even though it's a bad defense. I mean, he's sharing with Evans. He's sharing with Antonio Brown. He's still for the most part giving you a solid floor. Although 2 weeks ago against Minnesota, he had 3 targets and 25 yards. I would still go with him. I think with the Lions, there's going to be a lot of points to go around for that Tampa defense. And considering the Kamara situation, I would go Godwin.
Yeah, Godwin Thomas.
Okay. Would you go Thomas or Hawkinson?
Thomas.
Thomas over Hawkinson?
Logan Thomas has kind of helped me a lot these last few weeks. He's been doing great. His quarterbacks love throwing to him in red zone targets, and McLaurin's going to be out, so he's the number one option.
So where are you getting Hawkinson from? Did we switch to another question now? Or?
Yeah.
No,
I'm just going back to Hawkinson. We got some more questions about Hawkinson.
Yeah, sorry. That is tough. Because Thomas is getting the volume, and especially with McLaurin out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I would lean slightly to him, but I think they're both very good options.
Is there a chance that Carolina just routes them? Carolina's defense has been doing pretty well lately.
Yeah, but so has Washington's defense. I don't think they get routed. I mean, I think a definition of a Washington-Carolina game getting routed, that means the game ended 21-7. I don't see this being a big blow-up game here.
Yeah.
Okay. Trey S. says Marvin Jones has been... we talked about that.
Yeah.
Lucius is... We already did that one?
We're on this one right here. Because we got the double on that one when we said Hawkinson for him and Anthony.
It says, so Kittle on a snap count or Hawkinson. So this whole snap count thing, I wouldn't trust. I mean, the whole team is on a snap count. He's probably the most healthy one on the team. Maybe other than... so... Kittle. Oh, so we already talked about this one. You said,
we said Hawkinson. Yeah.
Okay, so which one are we on now?
We're on this one right there. Full PPR. J.K. Dobbins or Fournette. Easy Fournette for me. What about you guys?
I'm worried that Vaughn is going to play. What? Like, why? Do we all of a sudden think that Vaughn is a nothing?
No, I don't think he's a nothing. I think we're looking at what Fournette has done every time Rojo's been out. He has been absolutely incredible. He's going up against a very bad run defense. He put up 20 points on Atlanta last week. And even if he is splitting with Vaughn, Dobbins is still splitting with Lamar, with Ingram, with Edwards, with Collins, with whoever they pulled off the street this week to play running back.
No, he didn't split that much last week.
I know, but he still finished with 13 in a blow-up game against Jacksonville. And while that's good, his ceiling is still going to be limited because he's running with 3 other people in Lamar, Ingram, and Gus. He's
Not
great
Ingram.
player.
I think Ingram has been shut down.
Even
Maybe
so,
Gus.
Lamar takes the majority of the carries, and Gus vultures goal line carries all the time. I can't go with not Fournette. And Ryan N is just, oh my goodness. He says Vaughn is awful. Don't even start with me. If he has another drop, Brady's going to send him to Brazil.
Okay, well, that answers my question.
Okay.
I mean, I was seriously wondering, like, what happened to Vaughn?
Yeah.
He's a vaunted rookie running back. Where'd he go? Okay, so I guess this is a Fournette game.
Yeah, I think so.
Jared, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are not a great run defense, and J.K. Dobbins is getting more touches, but it's still like a ceiling of 15. And Fournette, the Lions are the absolute worst. So, I got to go with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Alessandro De Stefano.
So Ryan was saying that he really, I don't know, we might have talked about this already.
That was in
He really
relation
liked-
to the Anthony G question up here.
Yeah. Yeah, he really likes Brady. It's interesting. I'm wondering, yeah. I did see somebody say, not in this comment section, but I saw a question, Gronk versus Kittle. Like, would you start Kittle over Gronk? It seems like this may be a big Gronk blow-up game, huh?
Yeah, I just don't know what Kittle's going to do. There's not many. I mean, there's only a small group of tight ends that I'd keep in over him, but Gronk is still one of the big red zone threats.
All right. I'm only down 10. So where are we here? Have we talked about this yet?
Yeah, so just to reinforce, if Anthony G's still here, I'd go with what Ryan's saying. If he's only down by 10 with Lutz, I like Brady and Hawkinson as the safe floor. This was back to his quarterback question earlier. So we're right here from Marcos Valdez.
Herbert or Tannehill? What do you think?
Jared, I know you've been the Tannehill guy this year. So
I have been, but I'm going, and the Herbert guy, but I'm going Herbert. Tannehill, his biggest games have come at home. The Packers have generally been solid against the pass. Herbert is tough without, knowing he may be down a couple of weapons. But I'm gonna have to go. Herbert.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, for Tannehill to do really well, it'd have to be a big blow-up game for. Well, I mean,
it could be a good Corey Davis game.
Yeah, Corey Davis.
If Jair locks up on AJ, Corey Davis could go crazy. I think Tannehill is definitely the more boom or bust play in this case. Herbert, I think, is a lot safer. Even though he may be without most of his weapons, Keenan Allen is still questionable. I mean, he's definitely look what he did last week. And I know Vegas is definitely a worse defense and Denver's got a better pass rush, but they have been banged up all year. And Tannehill has looked very good all year. And yeah, he's had a couple of rough games recently, but I mean, that was against what, New England? Well, you're not going to blame a rookie quarterback for having a rough game against New England. Atlanta, I think, is definitely his fluke game. And then he came back and showed everyone else on a short week against an real NFL defense. Without his top 2 wide receivers, he could still put up 27 points. I'll go Herbert.
Okay. Would you go Kittle, Logan Thomas, or all right? Like,
We-
half point PPR. We've already talked this to death.
Well, plus the Hawkinson decision,
Yeah.
if he didn't already put him in, it's 1:00 now, so that
Yep.
one's
Yeah.
already
You can't do
passed.
Hawkinson.
So if
Would you
he
do Kittle or Thomas?
Logan Thomas.
Yeah. Man. All right, let's see. Where are we? I mean, all
So it's
these
a lot of-
ran in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan's coming.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth with his Bucks advice up here. I've been
Okay.
throwing it up there. He does say though about your question with Gronk, he thinks it'll be a huge Evans game and they'll go to Godwin.
Evans. That's
Which
interesting.
stinks because I just noticed that I'm benching both of them for DK Metcalf in one league. So
Ooh. Ooh.
yeah.
All right, guys.
Hopefully that
Well,
pays off.
game is starting. I've got some Christmas stuff to do. Do you guys have any? We're out of questions, so you guys have anything you want to bring up before we go? Any insight? It's been as crazy as the season's been. I've really had a lot of fun, especially with you guys and our. I mean, this is the first time we've had so much interaction with our viewership. Having a league with them was super fun, and just the different personalities. And it's been really entertaining and I've enjoyed it. It's been good to have during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, at like one point, this was half of what was keeping me sane, honestly, was being here every Tuesday, every Saturday. Because like it's something regularly scheduled. We don't miss it. And I get to talk about football for an hour or two.
Yeah. In a crazy year, being able to beat up on Judah in fantasy football was just one more thing that kept me grounded. No, I'm just kidding.
Everything else is falling apart. At least you get to continue to do that.
It's been good. Like, I mean, we are to a point where, like, I am glad the season is over. I am exhausted with the season. I always feel much better after we get to week 15 because I more or less make my money back and know that I'm not going to lose money on it. It's going to be a slim profit this year, but probably. But
maybe not. You still got 3-4 teams, $100 teams.
Yeah, but one of them's getting Kamara, so we'll see. But either way, it was a good season. It was a weird season because I tried best ball for the first time. And so I'm going to do more of that, I think, next year. And I think, and I didn't do any, I did a $50 league, and I think I did a $20 or $25 league. The rest of it was all like $10, $1 leagues. Because I kind of wanted to see how, different it was. And it is its own little thing. And I think one thing I've seen from that is, it's a good idea to grab rookies who later in some of those later rounds, because later in the season they can come in really handy for you.
Well, not only that, but grabbing them before the draft, because a lot of times I don't know how it's going to be. It's going to be different, of course. It was different this year with COVID, but in years past, I've been able in best ball to grab a lot of rookies before the draft even happens, because and nobody knows who they even are. But talking to you guys, I'm like, just grab this guy for free.
Yeah.
Before the NFL draft happens, I don't understand what you're. Oh, okay.
Yeah, best ball. In fact, you can get best ball. I think you can start doing best ball now in some leagues. I don't know about Yahoo.
What? That's crazy.
That would be interesting. That would be a good idea. Yeah, I didn't realize you could do that. I was trying to figure out, like, what are you talking about? Like, before your draft? Before the NFL draft. Yeah, that makes sense. If you kind of know your stuff. I mean, which is still unpredictable. Like we talked about Henry Ruggs, like with the Raiders, like who are they going to go with? Is it going to be CeeDee Lamb? Is it going to be Jerry Judy? No, it's Henry Ruggs, and then Henry Ruggs doesn't really do anything. And I think it's just, and he may end up being a fine player. I don't think he's ever going to be what some of these other receivers are. I think they drafted. I think they made the mistake of being in the league with in the same conference. I'm sorry, in the same division with Tyreek Hill and trying to find their own Tyreek Hill as opposed to just taking the best receiver. So there's some weird things like that you can't predict. But I think there's a lot of guys out there that you could grab before draft before regular fantasy players are even really onto them, and I think that's a good idea. But this was a good year. A lot of time was spent. Like I did a lot of $20 leagues. One, because it was so unpredictable. I didn't want to have a lot of big money teams this year, and I'm glad I didn't. But also because that allowed me to do more drafts. And sitting at home, during COVID, and it's like, oh, I can draft another team. Of course, then I paid for that later, having to then manage all those teams. So
I think it's a great idea to get my drafting willies out on
best ball.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next year. I'm going to try to do more best ball. Now that I understand it a little bit better, because it is its own thing. It's just like how standard and PPR, you're going to draft differently for those, or set your lineups differently for those. The Listeners League was fun. I'm
especially
glad,
for you.
especially for me. Yeah, I had a certain expectation to live up to when I named my team my Roto Hackers nickname of the absolute stud. So if that team had flopped, that would have been pretty embarrassing. As it is, I'm in the championship, and Slanting Chubb's gonna have to. I've got Kamara. Slanting Chubb's gonna have to have a great game. If he beats me on that, he deserves it. So yeah, this was good. We need to. I think I said a week or so ago that like last season ended, and I'm like, oh, now let's talk about the off season. This that like. I'm less like excited to talk about it in the off season, but we need to like keep it going with some sort of talking Star Wars or whatever. However we do that, whether it's still using this channel to just talk about both, or moving over to another one to talk more Star Wars or whatever. But this has been good.
Yeah, it's funny. Like there's so many Star Wars coming out. It's almost like NFL. Like there's gonna be just like boom, new Star Wars and Star Wars and Marvel,
Star Wars and
Disney.
Marvel. Yeah.
Big touchdown, Brady. I won't spoil it to you, but
I think
let's just say Ryan N was right. It looks like it's gonna be a big game for both. Evans is already high on yards. But looks like Brady is back to old form. Yeah. All right. What were you saying? I'm sorry, AJ. I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we're obviously going to be back here next week, so we got to give our reports on how our championships ended and everything. Yeah. And how everything shook out. But
Tuesday.
I will say the Listeners League is a lot of fun, and I learned a lot this year. It's like grab quarterbacks while you can and learn how to auction draft, because Jared and Ryan will take absolutely everyone from you. But yeah, that was awesome. I mean, should the Ice Rink Falcons be playing hockey instead of football? Maybe, but we're sitting in a third place game, and if I beat Jonathan Buster, I'm gonna be partying when I show up on Tuesday.
Gotta do it. You gotta do it.
That's like the best possible consolation game, for you is like if you're not playing for the title of something to play for, aiming to beat him. So the Listeners League too. That was sort of a learning experience for me in that, having two more teams and having a bunch more positions and stuff like that. I'll probably actually even tweak my draft strategy a little bit next year, because I part of it was I was just fortunate. I was just fortunate that I ended up with Alvin Kamara, who was having a great year, and fortunate that I got Justin Herbert off the waiver wire and stuff like that, because it is a little bit of a different strategy, and I ended up still with a ton of fab at the end of the season that I really didn't, because again, like fab, that was good for me too, is like learning to really use that better, because I hadn't really played with that before, just played like rolling waiver priority, apart from a couple of basketball leagues. So the Listeners League was a learning experience in multiple ways too. So
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back on Tuesday, I'm sure, to give a report. But this is basically the final finale. Everything else will be sputter.
Unless
Post-credits.
unless one of our games gets pushed due to COVID to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's still like I thought about that. Like this will be our last game while games are, or this will be our last podcast while games are still being played. And then I'm like, well, now COVID could push one.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Could be a Wednesday game.
True.
Stay tuned. We will be announcing next week about our next play, as far as what we're going to do next. But there will be I'm sure we'll take a little break at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the same thing we did last year, like in between Super Bowl and the draft, something like that. And then we'll come back and do another draft super special or whatever.
Yeah,
the draft was so much fun last year.
That was a good time. I enjoyed that. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. For today, enjoy the games. Got a lot of games today,
a lot of good
tomorrow
ones, too.
and Monday. Yeah. So, looks like it's going to be a fun day. Enjoy your family. Or just enjoy your time off, or just the fun of the snow. Jared got nice snow. Go out and make a snow angel. I don't know.
It's just, I'll probably just look at it.
You're not even gonna make a snowball.
I don't know. I mean,
I would make a snowman.
I would just make a snowball and just stand there and looking at it. What would I would just throw it off into the bushes. What would I do?
That's a good point. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this. Has been fun. And of course, we're going to continue to do stuff, but we're going to sign off for now. Unless you guys have anything, I'm going to hit the old outro.
Good luck in the championships this week. Unless you're playing me, then good luck, but I hope I win. And if I can get the link before we leave, you should join our Discord, definitely. Because even though fantasy football season's almost over, we're still going to talk about football and everything. So we still got a bunch of people
still got an NFL season that's looking like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be another thing that's sort of a little bit interesting, is to be able to kind of have fantasy. Well, maybe not daily fantasy. Daily fantasy will still be there. And that's the other thing, is we can still talk a little bit of daily fantasy.
Yeah.
If we want to. As we go into the playoffs, or week 17 or the playoffs or whatever. Week 17 makes for some interesting daily fantasy.
For sure.
So we can talk a little bit of that. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to get to a point then where you can watch games without worrying as much about what you need from your players, So
yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, this is Roto Hackers signing out. Good luck. And see you later. We're still.
Yeah.
This is the end credit scene. Hey, looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's interesting.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I could use that. I've got Antonio Brown, Fournette, and Godwin going in the championship, so we'll see.